Hello? You can give him your propaganda later, okay? It's good. I mean, I like it. I mean, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Well, I don't share it with you, so I don't know how you.
Oh, you do? You send me those emails. I just love
You mean the
them.
email that said, why don't we do something about the mildew on the jack? Oh, that's a bad email. Oh, that's a.
That wasn't an email. I already answered that
Yeah, I
yesterday.
know, but when you say email, when's the last time I sent you?
Oh, I don't know, a few weeks ago.
What was it about?
Oh, it's always the same. What more information can you provide? Anyway, folks, it's 4 o'clock.
So full of shit.
She's so funny. Anyway, thanks for coming out. Fred is not feeling well, so he doesn't want to be here. But there is a quorum of the board present, and it is 4 o'clock on December 2nd. It is the annual River Shores budget meeting. So the roll call is Mrs. Dombrowski,
Here.
Mrs. Cook,
Here.
Mrs. Lucente.
Here.
There's a quorum of the board present. The minutes from October 2nd, 2023, it was a special assessment meeting. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I make a motion. I
Miss-
second it.
Mrs. Lucente. Lucente, and then Dombrowski. Is the board approved of the minutes?
Yes. Yes.
The first item on the agenda is the board reorganization. As we know, Keith was the president, but technically, there has to be a president, a secretary, and a treasurer. The other titles don't matter. Peg is the secretary, Fred is the treasurer, Mrs. Lucente is a director, and Mrs. Dombrowski is a director. So would maybe one of the two of you directors like to be president? Let me remind you, it's only important to the titles to them. Nothing changes. Your vote doesn't weigh more than another vote. Each vote is equal. It's just the bylaws require president. So would one of you like to take that on? It's just a title. There's no more duties, no less duties. It's just a title. Helen? Okay. Big Kahuna Helen. Okay. Is there a motion for Mrs. Dombrowski to be entitled as the president?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
Is the board in agreement?
Yes.
Good. Cook, Lucente. The next item on the agenda is the 2024 budget. Is there a motion to accept the budget as presented? And as a note, there is a minor correction I had put on the budget itself. It said excess prior year's funds of $1,530,032. It was just a line switch. It's the maintenance income. There is no excess funds going in. So that has been corrected. Everybody got notice on it. Is there a motion to accept the budget as presented?
I may make a motion to accept.
Mrs. Cook, is there a second?
I second it.
Mrs. Dombrowski, does the board want to discuss or ask anything?
No.
It's straightforward. It's not much different. Again, let me make a comment. It was said in the write-up that it does not include the increase of the March 2024 property insurance coverage. We have no clue what it will be. So as I wrote in the narrative, we want to be cautious not to raise the maintenance, because in normal condos, unlike River Shores, once the maintenance goes up, it never goes down. However, the folks have been notified that they will be getting another special assessment in 2024. That's wisdom. So there's a motion to accept the budget as presented. A second. Is the board in agreement to accept the budget as presented?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. The next item is Christmas bonus for manager. Maybe we should ask Ms. Lamke what she thinks.
Well, I make a motion of $7,000, same as last year.
Hey, it doesn't have to be that much. It doesn't have to be that much. No, it doesn't. No, it's,
Well,
she's,
somebody else make a motion.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not on here, so we have to.
no, you have to make a motion.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be that much. It's just enough to, her, just enough to consume.
Is that for that's your Christmas bonus?
Well, we gave
What is
Christmas
the-
bonuses to, you know,
Steve and
Steve and
Basil.
See, you guys know the history, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with whatever you
Yeah.
say.
And we gave them the same as what we gave them last
So
year.
7 is what we.
no, that was the, no.
That was a special one. No, we don't, I don't need to get that. That's not
So
necessary.
what do you want?
It just,
So-
why don't we ask her, what would get her most upset?
She doesn't enter into this, let's, you know.
I mean, I will go with 7 if that's what you think.
That's what we gave them last year.
Okay, so let's, I mean, that's, yes, I'm gonna make a motion.
I don't want to increase it because of inflation.
Okay, it's all right.
Then I'm going to second that,
Okay.
okay?
All right. There's a first and a second. Is the board in agreement?
Yes.
Helen, you
Yes.
sure? Okay.
What was the figure?
For the year 7,000, same as last year, no increase.
Thank you. Item D, I am withdrawing the renewal. I think it's wise to wait. However, with the board agreement, I would like to add something to the agenda. As we know, yesterday, River Terrace once again have decided to bring their attorney present. It's an indication of, you know, we're gonna get a letter this week, which is, you know, it's okay. I'm good with that. But, you know, everything in politics, when we look at how to play the game, we need to play by certain other people's rules, you know, the guru, those rules. So I would like the board to consider a conditional vote. Pending that letter, the whatever kind of letter it is, you conditionally vote. I could withdraw from Middle River Club and have one of you replace me on the Middle River Club board. But we have to, because we're having the meeting now, we have to wait and see.
What would be the purpose of you withdrawing from the middle?
Well, I don't want to discuss too much of that, so it's a conditional vote. Because remember, with politics, it's a chess game. So I don't know what I could second guess. You know, this is the second time he's got 0 for 2 on the winning streak, you know.
Yeah.
But again, remember, it's always, what could we do next to get anything we want? It doesn't matter how many times things are explained. And again, the perfect example was, and I agreed, or we all agreed, the bulk thing. Just as an example, the bulk item thing, it was a mess. It was horrible. But what we tend to do is forget certain facts and certain things that were brought up in board meetings. Like, for instance, River Terrace, it's in the board minutes, had agreed to, because they didn't like the way I was doing it. I says, great, you take over, when you think it needs to be emptied, you take over. You know, call and we'll reimburse you. There was never a question. Well, they never did anything except complain. They saw it, they didn't like it, great, you take over. The removal of that bulk bin, again, it was a community amenity. Sure, somebody doesn't like it, but you can't remove an amenity. But the narrative tends to change because what matter does that get? And then the issue of River Terrace got a violation. Well, again, it's not to say nonsense. I had gone down to the city, and as I explained yesterday, the city looks at this property because it's got a folio number with the property appraiser as Middle River Club. but there are 4 different associations on this property. I can't help how the city decides to look at it. So one time, I got the Middle River Club documents, and I got the River Shores documents, and I got my ass over there, and I went to bring it and explain how the community works, because if we get a permit, it has to have the folio number. Well, if River Terrace gets it, it could, it makes no sense, but that's the way they do it. What am I going to do about it? So, when River Terrace got that violation notice from the city, the logical thing is the bulk bin is not under their jurisdiction. It's under Middle River Club. Why didn't you just say, oops, you can send it to us, but we have nothing to do with the bulk. It's under Middle River Club. And they decided not to do that. And then there happened to be a gentleman from River Terrace who works in the city government, whatever he does in Ohio. And he said that's exactly the way it should have been handled, because what the hell do I know? I don't know anything. So, it wasn't handled that way. But again, the fact that some people don't like something somehow becomes a fact, and all the other real facts seem to dissipate. So, if it's okay, it's a conditional vote, and you agree to put this on the agenda by majority agreement. Let's see what the lawyer writes. We could talk about it. You get the information anyway as soon as I get the letter, or however he sends it. I don't know how, he's usually email. And we'll do a condition. You'll do a conditional vote today that pending on the outcome of the letter, the decision will be made then what to do, because we may have a different strategy to work with it. It has nothing, whatever I did on there is certainly covered by insurance. That's not the issue. But I'm sure they're not going to pay the special assessment. It's going to be a legal thing. But let's see what he has to say. I sent the invoice out on the special assessment just now, so I'm sure they, it's like everything else. Nothing should be, a big shock. So I'm looking for, the vote would be making a conditional vote pending the outcome of the letter to be further reviewed by the board to make a final decision that Tony may resign, and that Helen, I think you indicated you would replace, and then that would be just giving them notice. But again, the final decision would be, yeah. So is there a motion for that long?
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, because we have to have another meeting. There's no sense doing that. So
Make a
then,
motion to
Mrs.
table it
Lucenti,
until we hear from the lawyer.
well, not table it. It's the conditional vote upon review of the letter. Then the final decision would maybe, you're right, we love you, we're going to get along, or it could be, screw you, we're suing you, we don't like you, you're wrong. This is.
It could be any.
It could be
number of
anything.
things.
It's a law. That's what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to just wait.
So it's a conditional vote pending the outcome, but if I resign, then Helen will take over. So you want to make that motion?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Mrs. Cook, Mrs. Lucente first. Yeah, well, the decision will be final, because I wouldn't want Helen, she
Yeah.
saw what it
But
was.
it gives us an option.
Yeah,
Mhm.
this way we don't have to have another formalized meeting.
Right.
The final decision, but we don't know what he's going to say. So, is the board in agreement?
Yes.
Good. Agreement. Okay, folks, what do you got? Is it pertaining to the agenda?
Yes.
Good. Speak.
Okay. 2 questions. How much was the budget? I didn't catch a number on that.
I don't even remember. The total budget, all the 1,564,532. It's right on the page. It would have been 2.
Okay, and then the bonuses that you're gonna give out to Steve and Bays and them, how much are you gonna give them?
The board voted yesterday for $1,000 each for Steve and Basil,
Okay,
and $300 for Diego.
okay.
But that's yesterday.
Oh, I know, I'm just
Okay,
asking.
all right.
because I didn't get it. Anyway,
Yes, Robert?
I think I understood what you said, but I just want to clarify. I know we have $475,000 budgeted for insurance. In all likelihood, as you say, it's gonna go up quite a bit. So did I understand correctly, what, we're gonna deal with that in an assessment in 2024 rather than raise the monthly fees? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Do you know how much it's gonna go up?
No, of course we don't know.
Okay,
We just
so,
know it's probably
uh-oh,
gonna be a
he's
lot.
going
No, I'm not saying
50.
you
Well,
should
no,
be
I'm
different.
telling you what somebody went, 50%,
I know.
up to, guess what? That's what the insurance agent just said to me after I sent this out. So you might as well get past it, folks. It's gonna be another
Well,
2 years.
I'm aware of that, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm just trying to understand, if I understand correctly, that whatever it goes up, that's what we're gonna have to be assessed in 2024. That's all I'm asking. I know about insurance.
Correct, plus anything else what that board decides to assess you for if necessary.
Well, of course.
Oh, okay,
Thank you very much. No, I just wondered. I didn't know.
yeah, okay.
So, along the lines of that comment, why does it have to be a special assessment if we're willing to pay a little extra each month, which might be easier for a lot of people? We're not being given that choice.
Okay, so if you, I brought that up before and I put it in writing. Condo fees rarely, I don't even know,
I
ever
get
go
that.
down.
I get
So
that.
then you
They
have the
rarely go
answer to the
down.
question, do you want your fees
Well,
never to go down?
Just because they rarely go down, you've said in the past yourself that they have gone down here, so if.
Here,
Right.
but I'm not
Okay.
always gonna be
So, but we're
here.
not talking about everywhere else, we're talking about here.
Well, but Tony's not always gonna be here.
I get that.
So
and-
you
but
have
I
the
mean,
answer.
But it also doesn't give people that are on a fixed budget an opportunity to pay over time instead of one lump sum. I mean, we still do have some seniors here and stuff that may not have the money to pay it out all at once. But they're not being given the option to pay it over time.
Well, a different board could roll it over 6 months or
Right.
2 months or one payment or whatever. But this past assessment, this was warned since last September. It was coming, it was coming, it was coming. So again, I know people don't want to hear that condo did this, that condo, I get that, we get that. But the reality of it is, how blessed are we? In comparison, because what's going on out there are people are losing their, yeah. Over there, my understanding is 4 of them or 5 of them had to sell because of whatever. So at least it's not that bad. Now, in the future, you know, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but the likelihood is why I thought it was wise to get that 50-year building inspection done was exactly what happened over there. So that's another blessing we can count on having here. And as I wrote, I think it was last year or one point last year, or this year, it's because of Steve. The building is not perfect. I'll say it before you will, but because of Steve being attentive. When the engineer walked around with Steve, he was impressed with Steve's, you know, maintenance and awareness of the building and everything. So it's not me, it's really Steve or the board. We're very fortunate to have him.
And I don't disagree at all
Good,
with what you just said.
good.
But it doesn't necessarily address the fact that we weren't given an opportunity to vote on a monthly maintenance increase versus a yearly special assessment.
Right, you don't, the board votes on that.
I get that, but as a community.
Okay, next year, you may get 5 months to, you know, you may get it.
Right, just to voice.
You're
an
asking
opinion.
if the board, whoever's on the board next year, to have it out in payments.
Right, so
Okay.
all I'm saying is just to voice an opinion that when.
Okay, it's been
comes
heard,
up,
yeah.
That my opinion would be I'd much rather put it in a monthly payment than a lump sum.
Okay, so,
Tony, the last time we had an assessment, it was paid off like in 3 months or 3 times. Do you remember?
Right.
That
Uh,
was 13 years ago.
that was also like, yeah,
Speak up so we can hear you.
13
I have to
years.
remember, it was like a 3-month assessment
It was
at
the
that point.
boardwalk.
That's right, it was the
Yeah,
boardwalk.
It was the boardwalk when I moved in. That was 3 months worth of assessment to every unit here.
Yeah.
It was
Right.
paid over a period of time, not in a lump sum, which is what the fine lady here is talking about, having an option. Most condominium associations do provide options.
Yeah.
To consider the community at large and the hardship, the financial hardship that that causes. That's what she's trying to.
Okay, so